Hello and welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. My name's Dean Jackson, and today we're talking with Blas Carrasco. Blas like Las Vegas, apparently. And we had a great conversation because Blas is in a kind of a position that I find a lot of people are in. When you learn how to do something with marketing, you learn how to apply something to your own business, you get results, you want to move on and start sharing the news with other people. And then you end up getting, individual clients that you're working with, which is exactly the position that Blas is in. And we talked about a scalable model for him in syndication. And you've heard me maybe use those words before, but I think this is an amazing time in history where scaling a syndicatable model is really even more possible than at any other time. And so we have we had a great discussion about it. And I think that you are going to enjoy this episode. So here we go.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dean. How are you?
I am so good. Listen, how do I say your name?
Yeah, it's Blas. So an easy way to remember, it's like Las Vegas, but with a B in front of it.
There we go. Blas. Okay. Perfect. I didn't want to get that wrong. Welcome.
Thank you.
Where are you calling from?
From Mesa, Arizona.
Oh, nice. Okay. Are you guys on lockdown?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a little weird, walking around and everybody's in masks. And
yeah.
So yeah.
I bet that was the Phoenix was actually the last place I traveled. So we've been pretty much on lockdown ever since.
Yeah,
here in Florida,
strange times.
Yeah. Well, more time to hatch evil schemes and talk about marketing. So I get excited about that. So Blas, what's going on? Tell me about what you've got, what you're working on, and maybe a little bit about the backstory here.
Sure. So my backstory is, for almost 10 years, I ran what I felt was a pretty successful martial arts school in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And about in 2014, realized it was going in the wrong direction. So I got the right coaching and started learning a lot about marketing and advertising, and really was able to turn the business around.
Mm-hmm.
and significantly grow the business. And then I realized that there were so many aspects to it that I had learned that was really contributing to the growth of the gym. So as time went on, I realized, it was time to move on from that business. And I was really enjoying marketing. And probably in 2017, maybe 2016, I got really into the I Love Marketing, like you and Joe Polish. I was exposed to that through my business coaches. And we saw Joe speak at one of the martial art business events in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what sparked my whole interest in marketing. And then
that's great.
From there, I was like, man, I really enjoy this. And then it was just a rabbit hole from there. I started diving more into your content. I'm really big into Ben Settle stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then was exposed and became good friends and started being taught by Shane Hunter here in the Arizona area, and in the areas of internet marketing and stuff like that. So I just really dove in, and I was like, man, I love this so much. So 2018, decided to sell my gym. So we sold the gym, sold our house, packed our dogs, and moved to Arizona. And so over the past, I didn't really start getting serious about because right now what I'm doing is I'm offering basically content creation, digital marketing, or social media marketing and email marketing to martial art gym owners now. But it's not really where I want to stay. That's not the niche I want to stay in. I just started there because I really understand that industry quite well. So where I'm at now is, I have 4 clients now on retainer, and I do their email marketing campaigns, their sometimes daily emails. We usually try to stay between 3 and 4 a week. And then all of their daily content on social media, as well as any Facebook advertising. So, and on the other side of that, though, they utilize me in a different way because that's how I positioned it. I'm also like an advisor to them. So I'm like a sounding board. We help come up with ideas. So it's not just I'm the marketing guy and I'm left alone. It's like a partnership.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Now I'm just like, okay, where what's my next step, I guess, or I'm kind of unsure in the next direction I need to go into. And I would love to, in an ideal world, my dream would be to have a kind of like be my own version of like the Ben Settle type, like be the clientless guy that has this amazing amount of information and knowledge that can be shared, and replicate the membership model that was from the martial arts and try to do that digitally, because I found that that's where I'm my best. When I was teaching martial arts in the dojo, impacting lives, helping people improve their lives, sharing my knowledge, that's like my wheelhouse. But since I don't really want to be a teacher of martial arts, but I still want to help people improve their lives and their businesses, now I'm just like, okay, well, how do I take maybe the principles that I did in martial arts, apply that to business and marketing, and maybe even like personal development, and then create a digital platform that I can now do that.
And so doing that in a way through, does helping the martial arts teachers, or what do you call them? Coaches, teachers?
No, they all go by different titles, but they're instructors. Yeah.
Instructors. Okay. So the martial arts instructors, so helping them, does that fulfill that part of you? Like, does that help you, if you had a large group of martial arts instructors that you're coaching, helping, would that meet that need for you, or is it?
Not really. I mean, a little bit it would, I think. It's just, I feel like I just need to kind of, I guess, come out of my shell a little bit, and I want to reach more people, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are small business owners, especially, that they're just struggling, especially now. They're kind of in the dark. They don't know what's going on. And I guess that's kind of the dilemma I'm at right now. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy, obviously, and I want to continue it in some respect, but like my passion really is, I love writing emails. I like creating the creative that goes along with that too, with the exception of video, because I'm awful at video. I have friends that are really good at video. But that's what I enjoy. I enjoy that personal connection and helping people get the personal connection. But I also enjoy that too for myself.
Right. But to what end? So if you say, like, if we're starting, if we look at everything we do kind of on this podcast, the approach that I take is this is about applying the 8 profit activators to a business. So we would kind of go through and look at, in the conversations, it usually focuses on the before unit, that we would call it. But we've got to start with the during unit. And so you're at a stage where you're kind of unsettled, sounds like, on what the actual business is. So it might be a good idea to kind of help you think through that, because it's, you want to get that right before you kind of turn on the marketing side of it. So if I look at hearing what you've said, you're describing kind of what, and that's how I ask people, is what would be a dream come true for you? Like, what do you want your days to look like? What is it that you want to do? And it sounds like you like to write emails, you like to create content.
Yes.
Except for video.
Yeah, I like being on video, but I'm not a techie guy when it comes to that stuff. But
right.
Yeah, I enjoy the content creation. I enjoy the copywriting and the email stuff. I enjoy that storytelling, I guess, and creating the connection is really what I enjoy, and sharing any bit of either sharing my knowledge with other people that need it and helping business owners get their message out to the people that need to hear their message. So, and that's kind of can be a challenge sometimes, because you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what is your message? Your message is not my message. And then crafting it in a way that sounds
well. There's different ways to think about this, right? Like, you've got, ultimately, it comes down to, are you going to make custom drapes, or are you going to make ready to hang drapes? And this is something that I learned from a good friend whose father owned a drapery business. And one of the things that, they discovered is, if you're doing custom drapes, you're making one-off products all the time, right? It's a lot of work. You have to kind of get the measurements and find out what they want and what they like, and then cut to measure, and then you make it and you deliver it for one person. But then when as soon as you're done with those ones, then you have to get another customer who wants to make custom drapes, as opposed to getting the most popular window sizes and making drapes that are, beautiful drapes that are ready to hang for the most popular 4x6 window, or whatever the window size is, right? And selling a lot of them. You're manufacturing them and selling a lot of those drapes. It's easier. You get the so when I look at it, that it's the same kind of thing. If you're creating custom content and custom coaching and advising and working with different types of businesses to figure out what their message is and get their message out, that you're that's custom drapes. You're kind of limited to your capacity for that. Whereas if you take something like martial arts instructors, and you have specialized knowledge in martial arts instruction communications, like how to communicate the message of martial arts to consumers so that they get introduced to it and excited about it and motivated to try martial arts and deliver, the before unit for a martial arts instructor, so that they can plug in your content and get the result called a full practice, or a full, dojo, where they've got all of their classes full, or their calendar full, right? They've got a full client load, because I would imagine, just like in any specialist business, there are, and I'll call it, put it in with professional practices, dentists and chiropractors and doctors and anybody who has gone to school or developed specialized knowledge to be a practitioner of anything, the thing that they really want to do is be a practitioner of the specialized knowledge that they have. Like a martial arts instructor, if you gave them their preference, they would just love to have a full class of students to come in and teach and instruct and run their programs, helping people develop their skills as martial artists, and never give any thought to being a marketer or running a business or right? Like that's kind of the thing. Yoga instructors, anybody in that same kind of situation, right? Does that make sense? Like, is that true?
Yeah, that is true. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
Right. And so let's talk about both of those separately, because what I want to look at for you is, what is your preference? Would you see yourself, like, this is kind of the interesting difference, is would you see yourself happy as creating, this content and being the world's greatest communicator about martial arts and have all of these other martial artists kind of using and distributing your information and helping people? Or would you prefer to apply this to all kinds of different businesses, like doing original work every time? What's your, how did that kind of land for you?
Yeah, doing the custom work for individual businesses that could be varying doesn't seem appealing to me.
Right. So you want the thing. You want to know what you're doing, right? If you could have one focus on that, everything you're doing is you're communicating about martial arts and the instruction and the value of that and all the ancillary things that go along with it. You're kind of furthering and developing supporting communications for martial artists, instructors.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's it. It's the answer. That's the most relaxing thing, because you get to focus on one thing and you can build some equity in that it's then just finding more and more and more martial artists who subscribe to your content for their business without having to, invent new stuff for new businesses. It's a really clean growth model, because it's not going to be any more work for you to have 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people use your and benefit from it, right? It's clean, scalable growth. But it would be impossible for you to help. It would be difficult to help 10, impossible to help, not impossible, but very trying to help 100 businesses in different businesses, right? Very logistically a nightmare. It's not scalable that way.
Yeah, and that's what I'm definitely finding out to be true, because with the 4 clients, I'm thinking, okay, I've got 4 clients. I can't imagine adding 4 more.
Right. That's exactly right.
and so that's exactly where that's where I was really thinking, okay, this is just not scalable, in the way that I need it to be, or that I would like it for it to be. Right.
And so that's the first awareness. That's the first awareness, is just to say that, okay, so what you really want to do is you would, there's the thing, part of it is that sounds like you really enjoy the marketing and communication and all of that of a martial arts business, but it sounds like you're not that interested in actually being a martial arts instructor or practitioner. right? That's
Yeah,
the
well,
thing.
yeah, I'm just like, I still love it, training in martial arts and being a student of the martial arts, but I don't have a desire to ever run a school again.
Right.
And in the future, whatever I think, whenever I iron this out,
yes,
whatever other niche I can get into later down the road in another few years or whatever, well, then that's a different story. But I could repeat the model.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is that's what it's about for you, is to think about how that model works, right? Like, you just think about yourself, appoint yourself to the position of marketing director for a martial arts studio or dojo or whatever, for a martial arts instructor, and that you're doing it, whatever you're doing for one is going to benefit all of them, right? Because they all have the same basic, basic needs. They need to find new students. They need to introduce them to the martial arts. They need to bring them in. They need to, get them on a program, and then nurture a lifetime relationship and orchestrate referrals, right? So they all have those same needs, and everything that you create to help one of them with any one of those goals is applicable to the others. Like, have you developed some stuff that you used in your business that you've used for other businesses? Like, do you have a specific, advertising program or a postcard or Facebook ads or something that you used to attract new clients? What are your kind of capabilities in your tool belt there?
Sure. So, like, when I ran my martial arts school, there were different tactics and things that I would do that were still based off of, the bigger principles. So, for example, if I were, one of the first things I adopted in 2000, I guess, 2016 was the idea of sending daily emails.
Yeah.
So what I'm finding is a lot of schools don't even leverage their email list. They may be. So what's happening is, like, take one of my clients. He was sending before me one email a month, and it was a very salesy pitch on, hey, buy our paid trial, for 6 weeks, blah 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 blah. And that was it. I went in and I looked and I was like, man, you don't send any correspondence at all, like, through that. And so that was the first, I guess that's why I really fell in love with email, because that was the first strategy I implemented with my martial arts school that yielded me very consistent paid trials every month. Even if I didn't do in fact, it was kind of a bad thing, because it worked so well that I would get lazy on the Facebook marketing and be like, I'm not going to do any Facebook ads, because I know I can get at least 18 paid trials for the month, and sell each one at $69 and convert, more than half of those into actual full paying members. I'll be okay. So it did make me a little complacent, because the email thing worked so well. So that's the first place I always start with guys. Like, man, let's look at how you're leveraging email first, because there's a lot of low hanging fruit there. Yeah. That, these people, they weren't at the time that they got on your list, they weren't ready to buy, but that doesn't mean that they're never going to be ready to buy, because they got on your list. At one point, they were interested in something related to martial arts. So why not communicate to them your best stuff, but like tailored to them, right? So I think that's where a lot of martial arts go wrong. They don't understand that, one, there's multiple avatars that are on your list, and it's okay to speak to one of them, and then change the persona of who you're
Right.
talking to, maybe the next week or even the next
Right.
day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first place I start, and that's where I can usually start getting them almost immediate results.
Do they typically have a list already?
So let me see. Three of the four right now have a decent sized list of over 4,000. And, that's kind of like a big deal for a local martial arts.
Sure.
School,
Of course it is. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen, like one of my favorite things that I ever saw, I used to run, when they allowed it, full page ads in Success Magazine. And I was running one for the Email Mastery book that was talking about the amazing 9-word email that revives dead leads. And I was talking all about that and offered the Email Mastery book at emailmastery.com. So people would go there, opt in, and then I would invite people to come to not a webinar, but a teleconference where we were going to brainstorm and talk about 9-word emails and subject lines. And one of the first guys that I recorded all the calls because I wanted it to be, just a pure brainstorming thing. These are people that I didn't know, but one of the first guys that I had never met read the ad, got the book, sent out a 9-word email for his jiu-jitsu program. And he just sent out an email and said, hi, Blas, are you still interested in learning jiu-jitsu? And that was it. And he sent out these messages. He got 5 people to sign up for his $1,800 program by sending that to his list of, I think he had 2,200 people or something at the time. But he never, it's kind of like the same thing you were talking about. Send once a month something with a sales offer. But he sent that, are you still interested in learning jiu-jitsu? That 9-word email, and generated all these people. So that's certainly a magic trick that you can do with any martial arts business, right?
Yeah, and that's a funny thing. That's the first strategy I use with my clients.
Okay, good.
9-word, because when I first heard it, I heard it from someone who heard it from you,
yeah,
many years ago. And when I did it for my school, I got, I think it was 125 responses in under 48 hours or something like that. It was some crazy amount of things. And so I ran it for a client of mine, and he said, dude, he goes, I don't even know what to do. I've had to cancel all my other things because I'm responding to emails all day. And I was like, that's a good problem. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny that's the most common thing that people just get blown away by what happens, and in a pure thing like this, when you've got a list that is purely, interested in one thing, it's just so, and you haven't done anything like that. It's just, there's so much pent up, interest in it, Now, by the way, we send in a lot of ways. I send that 9-word email every single month. So I own a company called 90-Minute Books, and we help people write and publish their first book. And every month, on the first of the month, we send out a message that says, hi, Blas, would you like to get started on your book this month? And every single month, 4, 5, 6 people pop out saying, yes, I'm ready, right? They may have been on the list for months or years even. My girlfriend owns a studio here in Winter Haven called Amazing Brows and Lashes. And every month she sends out an email that says, hi, Blas, would you like to get your eyebrows done this month? And it's like an annuity. except it pays out monthly. You just send a quick check in, and it's amazing because nobody gets upset about somebody asking a question, because it's easy to just say no thank you or ignore it. But if you are ready, then it's easy for you to say yes too, right? Because what's going to happen is one day it's going to arrive and they're going to say, I was just thinking that.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's a great that's a great thing. But that's one of those. Imagine if now you've got 100 jiu-jitsu instructors all subscribed to your engine, that you're doing all of the stuff as they were creating great content for them.
So let me ask you back to the 9-word email, because as I was listening to you talk there, so what do you do for like your business in taking the principles of the 9-word email and like doing that in other emails? Like not necessarily the question thing, but how do you give that feel? How are you giving that same personal touch?
Yeah. So there's nothing magic about 9 words. What it really is are emails that are short, personal, and expecting a reply. That's what we're looking for, right? Those are the components of an email like that. Somebody in my email mastery program coined the acronym SPEAR, short, personal, expecting a reply. So sending SPEAR messages. And so what I do is I do live events. What used to be live events, now I do since we're all under quarantine, I do virtual live events in a Zoom boardroom instead of a live boardroom. But the essence is that I send out a message that's meets those requirements, and I would say, hi, Blas, I'm doing a online marketing mastermind next week, where we're going to spend 2 days focused on applying the 8 profit activators to your business. Would you like to join us? That's a simple, short, personal, expecting a reply message. And the thing about email like that is that it really goes into this truth that people read their email alone. And the more that you can make your email feel like it's a one-of-one email, meaning you're the only one that got it, that's how we get such high response rates. We're using it for so many different things, but it leads, I call this whole process conversational conversion, that we're looking at just engaging in a dialogue with someone that leads to the next step and the next step. So if somebody says, because all I said in the email is I'm getting together, we're doing a virtual, online mastermind in the Zoom boardroom. We're going to spend 2 days applying the 8 profit activators to your business. It'll be a small group of 8 to 10 people. Would you like to join us? And when people reply back, because we didn't say the date or the times or the cost, but I'm just getting their interest level in it, right? Would you like to join us? And people reply back and say, oh, that sounds great. What are the details? Or when is it? Or how much is it? Or whatever level of next question that would come up. And then I'm able to respond to people and say, hey, Blas, thanks for connecting. Here's what I'm doing. And I can explain the whole process. Normally we do live events in a boardroom, but we're all on quarantine. And I did an actual virtual breakthrough blueprint last week. We had someone from Las Vegas, we had Canada, we had Belgium, Bangkok, all in the boardroom. It was an amazing experience. So we're going to do that again. And I just explain the how it works, and that it's a very intimate kind of environment. And we instead of spending 3 days, we're going to spend 2 days, and then I'm going to do a 90-minute one-on-one with everybody as a follow-on after the event for implementing. So people can participate, that way. So it's a cool, it's just like a very short, personal kind of one-on-one communication model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I like that. And I'm already thinking of ways, just by hearing you talk about that, thinking of ways that school owners can utilize that messaging, because everybody has transitioned to virtual teaching now.
Yes.
All the gyms are closed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. I like it.
Mm-hmm. And so you think that, you start to think about all of that. We were talking on one, I forget who we were talking with. Joe Polish and I did a couple of episodes here in the last little while, but I think it was one with Jay Abraham maybe. But we were talking about this. I was imagining some, those. Have you seen that mirror workout machine?
Oh, yes.
With the computer kind of inside of it or whatever. Well, I started thinking about what a functional version of that might be. Like if you had a martial arts thing that somebody could get a full length mirror, and then have an arm like a pole beside the thing with adjustable, almost like one of those gorilla pods or something that you could adjust to hold an iPad, that you could provide somebody with, instruction center kind of thing, that somebody could zoom into a live instruction, or with or a recorded. But I think that part of the thing is a live one is a great thing. And that, these are the kind of things that we're going to really become more used to now,
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of a creative thing, But imagine, you've got this virtual. Imagine if you created this. This is where I think the big opportunities are going to happen. Is that all the things that are traditionally 100% live in person, that some percentage of people are going to discover and be and prefer doing them virtually. And I think that this is going to be a category land grab, that I think there's opportunities for setting up instructional things in Cloudlandia, that you could have a virtual martial arts studio that only does, in the cloud. Now, it might not suit for martial arts where there's a sparring element, or a things where you need to, test yourself against other people and advanced kind of thing. But certainly for individuals and personal training and physical therapy, perhaps to some degree, all those things that could be done individually at home in place, learning the piano, learning guitar, learning to sing, learning, and even then up into professional services of counseling or, accounting, law firms, all these things. Why would you ever drive to your accountant's office anymore?
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, if you could have your financials, have your stuff up on the screen, sharing it, have them talking about it, just seems is so much more. And I think that's an opportunity to centrally manage the before unit of practitioners who deliver a virtual during unit experience.
Sure. So let me ask you a question, kind of, it's all related to this actually.
Yeah.
Is, one of the ideas that I was throwing around, and I haven't had a chance to discuss it at all really with another mentor of mine, but taking the martial art business knowledge that I have, everything related to that, and the idea was to create some kind of online coaching platform that was affordable, but then have an element within it to where people could, either for an additional fee or part of the membership, access my content that they could plug and play if they wish, along with, any of the coaching modules that I had. Maybe combining that platform. What are your thoughts on something like that?
What would the coaching be about? When you say combined with the coaching modules, like, are you talking about?
Like business, I guess, more business coaching, some mindset stuff, things that I feel business owners need if they're even going to run a successful business.
Sure.
Bringing ideas on, how to teach a kids class, or how to structure your, what we call mat chats. So ideas on bringing life skills to your kids' classrooms, and how to best practices basically for various areas within a martial arts school that a business owner would have to know how to do if they really wanted to, bring some value to their members.
Yeah. So that, I look at that kind of stuff where you're teaching skills and competencies and knowledge. Like the thing about knowledge like that, which is what I would describe what you're saying, like how, if you teach somebody how to think and they adopt a mindset, that you've done the job. Need to now,
right.
They don't need to pay you next month to reteach them what you already taught them, right? So if they go through some number of months of this, they learn your mindsets, they learn your how to run a kids class, how to do these things, all the during unit stuff. They've built up the knowledge. Now they got that, and there's no continue with that in a way, right? Because they're like, I got a lot of great stuff from you. I really appreciate it. Compared to their ongoing, consistent need to bring new clients into their business, right? Where that's if you could solve that problem for them, if you could be a vending machine for them that can help them fill their dojo, that's a valuable ongoing thing that you could do, especially if you're doing it. Do you have any before unit things, like, have you got a predictable vending machine? I put money in on this end, and this is the video, or this is the ad, and this is the opt-in, this is the email, this is the invitation, and we get this many people that you could turn money into a new client?
I wouldn't say no. I'm going to go ahead and say no on that. I don't have it all quite dialed in like that.
Well, that's part of that would be the puzzle worth solving, right? Like if you could figure out how to predictably, for a predictable cost, get new clients, that model is the most valuable thing that you could create. Predictability for people,
Mm-hmm.
What we end up finding is that most businesses are spending money on advertising, and it's like putting money into a slot machine. They put the money in, and they pull the handle, and they hope that it works. And then every once in a while, it works, and they go, yay! But then they try and duplicate it, and they pull, and they pull, and they pull, and it doesn't work consistently. And what we're really looking for as business owners is something more like a vending machine, where you can say, I want 12 6th to 8th graders in my after school program from Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And you can push a button and say, and I'm happy to pay $200 per student for that, or whatever you figure out the lifetime value is of that student, and then what you work out that your allowable cost of acquisition would be.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the pricing conversation is that a lot of times freelance or practitioners, and I'll put instructors of anything, they price themselves based on what they want to make per hour, or what their cost is, plus a little bit on top of that, but they don't factor in any allowable cost of acquisition.
Right.
They don't. So now, and they look at it as an expense, right? They look at advertising as an expense that's taking away from the amount of money that they're making, as opposed to an investment in delivering the lifetime value to them.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Writing notes.
No problem. I mean, and I think that's really job one, is if you can figure out the way that these people could generate leads, how they can consistently by email follow up with those leads, I think that makes it the most valuable, right? Because then there's a predictable, repeatable solution that you're offering for somebody.
Sure.
And you could offer it, you could be that vending machine for them, as opposed to teaching them how to do it, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not going to do what you need. And if they do it, there's variation, and they're going to mess it up, and they're not going to be consistent with it.
Yeah. No,
and you're still going to be held accountable for why it's, air quotes, not working.
Yeah. Why it failed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That didn't work for me. Right. Because they didn't work it. Right. So the thing is, if you can be the who and not teach them how, that's one of the things that we talk about, is the big frustration for all entrepreneurs is trying to figure out how to do something instead of seeking out a who. So all these practitioners, all these instructors are sitting around going, how do I get new clients? How do I fill my classes? And then they're going and studying, and they may come across you, and then they find something that maybe they can apply, and maybe they get some results or don't, but then they get busy teaching the classes and they can't continue to run it. And instead of how do I do it, if they started asking who can do this, and you had a vending machine that you could just deliver new clients to them or handle remotely their entire before unit and their after unit of doing their client newsletter and their orchestrating referrals in their after unit, that all of that would be an amazing support system for them and allow them to just do the thing that they love to do, which is to show up and instruct the classes.
Yeah. No, I like the idea. I just not quite sure how to deliver that, but I love the idea
your puzzle,
of that.
Right? That's the puzzle, right? That's the work.
Yeah.
That's what the business is that's where you're not just gonna, if you don't know how to do that, then really what is it that you're going to share with them, right? That's going to keep them entertained or, engaged and growing, because teaching them how to run a kids class or how to preparing them to be better in the during unit, but it's not getting them new clients.
Right.
Now they've got the best. Now they've got the best kids program and the best mindset, and they're a really great business operator. But they still now have to figure out how do I get new people.
Sure. Yeah. And I guess for me, it's like figuring out the technical back end stuff to say, okay, well, how can we set all this up to serve, 500 school owners, for example?
That's exactly right. But you don't think about it like that. First of all, you need to have an N of one study. You need to totally overinvest yourself in solving these problems for one instructor.
Gotcha.
And then when you get something that is working, then you roll it out and you say, well, can I do it again? Because that's the thing where then you figure out, have I got a slot machine that I got lucky on, or have I got a vending machine that I can replicate?
Gotcha.
And when you get one, then your next goal should be to, make sure you can do it again. And then if you can do it again, then you try and do it for 10.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And only when you get it for 10, if you can get it for 10, you get it for 1,000. Then it's logistics.
Yeah.
But the core, I call it, this is one of the things that I do, is I work on what I call creating scale-ready algorithms. Meaning, so I invest a lot of time working with one business to get one solution that can be syndicated.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you're not, you're not getting what you're not getting compensated at the level that you might for doing work that you're doing now, but you're creating something that is going to work without you at some point, right?
Sure.
You're building equity. Yeah.
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah. So what's your takeaway here, your recap? That was a lot.
That was a lot. No, I think right now the recap would be to really dial in and figure out that puzzle piece to, okay, we really need to figure out what is the formula that we're getting to work for even just one client, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. And then identifying each aspect of that formula and saying, okay, these things are working. Oh, maybe this one didn't work as well. Let's see if we can improve it until we have something that from beginning to end is yielding the results that we want and that we're happy with. And then saying, okay, let's add this to another guy, to another client. And let's then
you go to one other one and you say, hey, look at this. I think I figured out a way to really fill a kid's class. This is what we did. I want to test it out. Can we try it with you?
Yeah.
I go, of course. Yeah. And then you do it and it works. And then you say to 10 people, look what we've been doing. I figured it out. Then we duplicated it over here. I'm going to try it with a small group. Would you like to join us?
Yeah. That was my, there was a lot of takeaways. I wrote a ton of notes, but that was the big,
again, you'll listen to it and you'll hear it. You'll hear it.
But that was the big idea.
Yeah.
That was the big idea, really. So that was great. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, and hope others got something out of this. I'm sure they did.
Of course. Yeah. That's the fun thing is that part of it is that it doesn't matter. This is the thing that I never think about it really as like doing a podcast per se. I think about it as, what do you need right now? And that was this conversation between you and I is valuable in itself to other people to hear we're kind of showing the work, how we got to the things. So I'm sure that message is going to resonate with a lot of people. So thanks for playing.
No, thanks for having me. And I'm gonna jump on the phone with a friend of yours, Richard Miller, and brag about it.
Oh, that's great. That's funny.
Yeah, we've become good friends since I moved here. He's an amazing guy. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah. Well, look at Richard's studio there. He's got you got all the tools you need to do video right there. He's your man.
Yeah, he's been very I don't know, he's just been a great friend. So he's a great dude. He's very skilled, and before the whole Corona thing, he let me office out of there a couple times a week. So he's a great dude.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks, Dean. I really appreciate it.
Okay,
thanks for taking the time with me today.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, bye.
And there we have it. Another great episode. Thanks for listening in. If you want to continue the conversation, we'll go deeper in how the 8 profit activators can apply to your business. 2 things you can do. Right now, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com and you can download a copy of the More Cheese Less Whiskers book. And you can listen to the back episodes, of course, if you're just listening here on iTunes. Secondly, the thing that we talk about in applying all of the 8 profit activators are part of the breakthrough DNA process. And you can download a book and a scorecard and watch a video all about the 8 profit activators at breakthroughdna.com. And that's a great place to start the journey in applying this scientific approach to growing your business. That's really the way we think about Breakthrough DNA as an operating system that you can overlay on your existing business and immediately look for insights there. So that's it for this week. Have a great week, and we will be back next time with another episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers.